Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, CSN Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today it's the finale of this 6-game homestand. The Astros play the deciding game of the 3-game set with the Chicago White Sox. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Julia Morales will join us in a moment. The Astros 3-2 on a homestand. A chance to have a winning homestand for the first time this season. They haven't had a winning road trip either, and they're about to leave for 10 days, Ash.
Go ahead and have one of those winning homestands. You do it with some nice timely hitting and some solid starting pitching, the bullpen pitching in. Oh, yeah, that's exactly the way they did it yesterday.
And the top guys in the lineup have really been getting on base a lot and producing big numbers.
It is a nice top of the order right now. Altuve has been playing excellent baseball in all facets of the game. And he got on early yesterday, set up a George Springer first inning triple as he hit a blast over the head in center field. George Springer had a couple of hits. Jason Castro went big fly early in the ball game. A 3-run job. You're up 3-0 before there's an out. And Dexter Fowler just keeps getting on base, whether it be like this with a home run opposite field yesterday or 3 hits yesterday. He's been drawing walks one on top of another. So these guys have been really good, and when you get that top of the order scoring for you, it gives you a lot of good chances.
It helps the starting pitcher too. The Astros starting pitchers have been good for the last couple of weeks. Brad Peacock is the starter today.
Funny, Jared Cozart was probably the guy that was least sharp of the bunch here in yesterday's ball game and picks up a win. Sometimes the wins are really tough to come by. Brad Peacock is a guy that has struggled along until the last start, and I thought he was exceptionally sharp in this one. Very good stuff. At the time I said, you know what, you're going to look at the line score, it's going to add up to just kind of a ho-hum day, but it was much better than ho-hum for Brad Peacock in this game. Anybody who knows the game will say that was solid.
Coming up, walk this way. Dexter Fowler settled into the 3-hole and gotten into quite a groove on this homestand. What's the secret to getting on base over 60% of the time? He'll talk with Julia Morales about it when we come back. Comcast Sportsnet presentation of Houston Astros baseball is presented by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box and try the new Jack's Blazin' Chicken Sandwich. It's Jack's hottest sandwich yet.
Net Houston Astros taking on the White Sox in Game 2 of this 3-game set with Dexter Fowler, who's trying to finish up this homestand on a high note. It's been a great homestand for you, though. 8 walks in these last few games for you. What's that a product of?
Not getting any good pitches to hit. So I guess
you've been hitting too.
I've been hitting, but when I get the pitches. But sometimes you got to take your walks. You don't get the pitches you want to do some damage with. So you just got to I guess pass the baton.
And 1 through 4 has been much more productive lately. And you're a veteran. You've played with a lot of different guys. What do you like about Jose Altuve and George Springer and some of the guys you're hitting behind?
You know what? I like that they like to swing the bat. They swing. They're starting to swing at good pitches, and they like to drive the ball, which they're not swinging the bat just to make contact. They're doing it, to do damage.
And they're quick too. There's a lot of speed at the top of the.
There is, and that's awesome. My last team, it was me with the speed, and now I got guys, in front of me with speed as well. So, that's always a plus. It puts the pressure on the defense.
To come up with a nickname for the top of the order right now. As far as getting a series win, a back-to-back series wins, what would that mean to this club?
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome, especially do it at home, in front of a home crowd, and it takes that momentum on the road.
All right, well, we'll see you on the road. Thanks for the time.
No problem. Thank you.
Coming up, the Astros look to take another one from the White Sox, and they looked at their first winning homestand for the first time since last June. Don't go anywhere. First pitch is next.
Right, Sunday afternoon. Wanted to tell you about In-Game Live at csnhouston.com. It's your home for all sorts of stats. Serious, if you want to check out how a pitcher could technically work to a hitter, you can see a batter's sweet spots and their weak spots. So follow along In-Game Live. You can also vote for your player of the game. Your top choice gets shown on TV during Astros post-game live. So that's In-Game Live at csnhouston.com. Now, the Astros are doing pretty well recently. They've won 4, 6, and 5 of their last 9. In those 9 games, Jose Altuve has hits in every single one of them. Dexter Fowler, he has an on-base streak of 15 straight games. But which Astro, any Astro, is most vital to the team's success? You could say maybe George Springer setting the table and he won the starting pitchers. This is a Twitter question, so tweet me at HoChenCSN and explain yourself, because I'm reading the best tweets on TV. That's HoChenCSN. Guys, over to you.
Thank you, Howard. Glorious day here at Minute Maid Park. The young fans who took their positions alongside the Astros players are being hurried off the field now. Special thrill for them every Sunday here. We had the youth parade before the game. And now time for baseball as Brad Peacock gets set to face this starting lineup for the Chicago White Sox. Adam Eaton has returned from the disabled list. He's the leadoff man in center field. He's followed by second baseman Gordon Beckham, third baseman Connor Gillespie. Diane Viciedo's the right fielder with Adam Dunn the DH. Paul Konerko starting at first base today, batting in the 6th spot, is followed by shortstop Alexi Ramirez, left fielder Alejandro De Aza, and catcher Adrian Nieto.
On the mound for the Astros this afternoon, right-hander Brad Peacock. He's gone at least 6 innings in his last 3 starts, and yet he's 0-2 in that span. Really good the last time, as we talked about that against the Texas Rangers. Taking a loss, 6 innings, allowing 4 runs. Don't believe it. 11 strikeouts. Points, I think, more accurately to the type of stuff he had on that day.
He's all set to go, and Adam Eaton gets in the box. Eaton with a .363 on base average. A nice addition to the White Sox. He's 25 years old, from Springfield, Ohio. Drafted by Arizona in 2010 in the 19th round. He's a kamikaze type center fielder and has done a lot of great things defensively in his career. There is strike one for Peacock. And Eaton was on a rehab assignment with their AAA Charlotte club in the White Sox organization, just activated after a hamstring injury from the disabled list. He replaces Jose Abreu on the 25-man roster. So with that change in the roster, the Chicago White Sox, with Abreu out with an ankle tendonitis problem, lose a lot of power. They gain some speed and good defensive play. Soft pop goes to shallow center field. Jonathan Villar looks out to Dexter Fowler, and that's out number 1 for Peacock.
Defensively behind Brad Peacock, outfield left to right, L.J. House, Dexter Fowler, and George Springer. On the infield left side, Matt Dominguez and Jonathan Villar. On the right side, Jose Altuve and Jesus Guzman. And behind the dish, at the start this glorious afternoon, Carlos Corporon.
It is a beautiful day out. Gordon Beckham has been leading off in the absence of Eaton. The first 2 games of this series, he was in the number 1 spot in the lineup. And Beckham takes strike 1 there. He is 3 for 10 in this series with 2 runs batted in, up to 270 for the season. 3 homers. He's driven in 9.
By the way, that first out on Eaton recorded on a changeup on a 1-1.
Got the nice fly ball. No balls, 2 strikes. We're seeing some different wrinkles from Brad Peacock. He's making his 6th start of the year, so maybe he's settling into the rotation after opening the season in the bullpen. Pitching like Bob Gibson in terms of time between pitches, Ash.
Plays very well for me, and I imagine if you spoke to every one of the guys playing behind him, they would agree. It's nice to play behind this guy, especially when he's throwing strikes. And Peacock is not only throwing strikes, he's doing it down around the knees.
That is just out of the strike zone, apparently. The swing is what did it for the strikeout for Peacock on appeal to Will Little at first base.
Seldom will you get that appeal call when you wait just even a beat to get the call down there. The Astros called for it right away, but you'll see that there was a bit of a delay before the call went down asking, and they still got it.
Like Corp was trying to hold the pitch there and frame it, and Will Little bring it up as a strikeout. DJ Rayburn is the home plate umpire today. Now with 2 outs, it's Connor Gillespie. Gillespie checks in at 3:33. Peacock runs it away from the zone, and there's ball one to Gillespie. No homers, 15 runs batted in. Excellent numbers for the young third baseman.
First inning looks like the last time out against Texas for me with Peacock. Those pitches down to the knees.
It's an easy roller to Altuve, and that is a 1-2-3 first. Peacock going for his first win of the season. Gets them out quickly. John Danks to the mound in a moment. Lineup presented by Jack in the Box. Jose Altuve on a 9-game hitting streak leads it off at second base. It's George Springer in right field, Dexter Fowler center field, Matt Dominguez third base, Chris Carter DH, Jesus Guzman first base, AT HOU's left field, Carlos Cuellar on catcher, Jonathan Villar shortstop.
29-year-old left-hander John Danks, 3-3 on the year, 4.88 ERA, tends to work with hard stuff most of the time. Left-hand hitters actually faring better than the righties. Probably a good changeup can be involved here to cut down on the righties' abilities against him.
Native of Austin, Texas. His parents always come to games either here or in Arlington. He is 2-7 in the state of Texas. And John, now 29 years old, went to Round Rock High School. He's the Gatorade Texas High School Player of the Year and was a first-round pick in 03. Altuve threatening to push a bunt, but he takes the pitch instead, and there's ball one.
One issue you can see statistically, walks 23 of them in 48 innings.
And there's a stat that jumps off the page. 415 for Altuve during his 9-game hitting streak. Batting average up to 304. That's 8th best in the American League. And he's ahead in the count 2-0. And Bull Porter said during his session with the media today, I am so proud of Jose Altuve.
He's been impressive. He's been beyond that. He's been really good for the team.
We talked about his increased strike zone discipline. He has 14 walks, 14 strikeouts. Takes that pitch, and he said he has a better plan now. He leaves the on-deck circle with a good idea of what the pitcher is going to try to do. He was out for some early loosening on the field. Altuve looks at it. Now it's a full count to Jose. He's tied for second in hits with 55 hits in the American League.
Well, that's an adjustment right there. Taking a 3-1 that he knew was a strike. He could have handled it.
Grounds this one to the left side. Diving play. Gillespie gets up and throws wide. Altuve is safe and probably will get a hit because it took a dive by Gillespie to really give him a chance. And it is a single for Altuve and a 10-game hitting streak.
Oh, watch Altuve come out of the box. If you don't come up instantly ready to throw, you're just not going to get him. He is so quick getting into full gear. And he is sniffing it. Players always talk about smelling those hits, and when you smell it, well, you turn into that 100-meter sprinter going down the line.
With 14 steals, he is tied for the AL lead. 10-game hitting streak. His career high is 11. George Springer, the batter. He cranks a line drive to left field. Altuve heads for second. Takes a trip around second. Alejandro De Aza came up with it. Altuve was thinking about it, but the ball was handled cleanly, and Springer backs it up with a single of his own to make it 2 on, nobody out.
George Springer is really starting to look like the guy that everybody had been waiting to see come to the big leagues. That's catching an off-speed pitch and just drilling it into left.
He's now 7 for 20 on this homestand with a homer and 5 runs batted in. First base coach Tarek Brock working with George as Dexter Fowler steps up. Danks has started twice against the Astros in his career. He's lost both of those games with a 5.40 ERA. Dexter Fowler has 3 hits and a bunch of walks on this homestand. This series, rather. There's a strike to Fowler. Fowler at 265 for a batting average, but 372 for an on-base average.
But the scouts are furiously scribbling on George Springer right about now.
Yeah. Fowler pushes a bunt, but it's foul. The right side of the infield was wide open. Beckham was close to second base.
After this was fouled off, it looked like Fowler glanced toward Beckham, probably saying to himself, boy, I had a shot right there. It was wide open.
He really did get it by the left-handed pitcher, and it's a hit. Fowler's gone 8 for 17 in the 5 games of this homestand. Jammed on that one. Matt Dominguez on deck. Dexter fitting into that number 3 spot. He sees himself as primarily a leadoff man, but this is the way things have come together these last few games for Bo Porter's club. So he's not one to go against the grain with the success of Altuve, Springer, and Fowler in those top 3 spots. Fowler looks at it. It's 1-2. Danks has pitched well the last couple of starts. He lost last time out Monday at Oakland, but gave up 3 runs in 6 innings. Fowler is at 328, and the Astros wins.
We talked about Jason Castro and his importance in the wins. Dexter Fowler, same category. Oh, that's close.
And 2-2 the count. Fowler has walked 24 times. He's in the top 10 in walks in the American League. In fact, he's walked in 7 straight games. That's a career high for him. First time an Astro has done that since Lance Berkman in 2009. But this is a strikeout, and Danks changing speeds gets out number 1.
Defensively for the White Sox this afternoon. In the outfield, Alejandro De Aza, Adam Eaton in center field, and Dayan Viciedo in right. On the infield left side, Connor Gillespie, Alexi Ramirez at second base, Gordon Beckham, and at first, Paul Konerko, and behind the plate, Adrian Nieto.
1 out now for Danks. Matt Dominguez, the cleanup man against left-handed pitching. Checks in with a .252 average, 5 homers. He's driven in 14. Domingo .250 on this homestand. Chris Carter's on deck. And the throw goes to first. The first baseman was off the bag, but Konerko takes that throw, and Springer's picked off. Well, Konerko was a couple of steps off first base.
This is reminiscent of baseball yesteryear. First baseman would play well off the bag, and they'd have a timing play between pitcher and first baseman. First baseman would cut, and there it is, perfectly timed out. You'll get runners with that play, but you just don't see teams do it anymore.
Haven't seen that in a long time. Runner breaks for third, and Altuve steals it on a pitch to Dominguez. Stolen base number 15 for Altuve. Right after the pickoff, he steals third.
He is not a novelty base stealer. He is becoming one of the league's top premier base stealers.
The pitch was a strike to Domingo. And now this fly ball heads for center field. Eaton coming in to end the first with no runs, 2 hits, and a man left at third, no score. And it's 0-0 after 1. We go to the second inning, and the White Sox have Viciedo, Dunn, and Konerko coming up against Brad Peacock, who did not need many pitches to get through a 1-2-3 first. Sunny day. The sun hats are out. Good day for those. And it's supposed to be warming up during the Astros 10-game road trip in Houston. So when the club comes back from that lengthy trip, the longest of the year, it may not be so comfortable for an afternoon game, Ash.
Yeah, I was wondering what it's going to be like in Anaheim and Kansas City in particular on this road trip. I imagine Seattle will still be cool, but I think we're probably entering that time of the season now where we'll see the summer start to set in.
Viciedo at 299 with 3 homers has driven in 14. And that's ball 1 to him. Stands him up. Viciedo, good power hitter. That pitch upstairs as well. And it's 2 balls, no strikes for Peacock. Viciedo has 3 hits in the series so far.
Now those 2 pitches look like the Brad Peacock when he's struggling.
And now 3-0. Viciedo took over for Avisail Garcia, who's out for the season with an injury. The White Sox really need for him to come through in the scheme of things. That's in for a strike, and it's 3-1. Viciedo, 25 years old. Last year he hit .265 with 14 homers, drove in 56 runs and 441 at bats. Chases that one, and it's 3-2 now. And a riding fastball, he went for it. This is the first career appearance for Peacock against the Pale Hose. Ground ball to Peacock. Nice comeback from 3-0 to out number 1. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. 4 straight out of the gate for Peacock.
Peacock saves himself with a nice defensive play here. That's a fortunate out because he was up throughout that entire at bat.
Yeah. Adam Dunn next.
And you see just nice play. Glove side certainly plays into this one.
Dunn hit his 6th home run of the year here Friday night. There's a strike to him. Dunn has 15 runs batted in with a .252 batting average. .477 is his slugging. Has 446 major league homers. Strike makes it 0-2 to Dunn. It's 3 away from tying Jeff Bagwell and Vladimir Guerrero for 36th on the all-time home run list.
Again, a couple of fastballs higher than Peacock would like.
Strike 3. Dunn caught looking, and he strikes out for the 40th time. That's strikeout number 2 for Peacock.
Number 3 was perfect. That's where you want it. Right where it's questionable on that 0-2. Beautifully spotted pitch.
Paul Konerko came off the bench last night and went 0 for 2 in his first action in this series after the first baseman Jose Abreu left with the ankle injury, tendonitis. 208 for Konerko, 1 homer. He's driven in 8. And that's ball 1. Last year, Paul hit 12 homers, driving in 54 with 467 at bats. He's 38 years old. He opted to come back for 1 more year with the White Sox. The fly ball goes to right field. George Springer to make it 2 perfect innings out of the gate for Brad Peacock. No score.
The Houston Astros host the 2014 Civil Rights Game right here at Minute Maid Park, Friday, May 30th at 7:10 p.m. That's against the Baltimore Orioles. In honor of the Negro Leagues, the Astros will wear Houston Eagles jerseys. Get your tickets to this historic game by calling 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com.
Chris Carter swings to open the bottom of the second inning. There's strike one for John Danks. Carter with 5 homers, 15 runs batted in. Has a 194 batting average. He's been bringing that up during this homestand. He rocks this one high to left field. It is 1-0 Houston. A no-doubter. Watch out tracks as Carter hits one for the 6th time this year, making him a 16 RBI man and giving the Astros the 1-0 advantage.
Yeah, this is fun to watch, and this is a ballpark that was not friendly to Chris Carter a year ago. What I feel like is Frankenstein's starting to come to life. He's gotten a jolt of electricity, and we're starting to see signs that this club is going to look like a ball club.
Carter rocked that one. That got everybody stirred up. Jesus Guzman comes up next.
Come on, Goose, back him down. Back.
That made a loud noise. Guzman looks at it. It's ball one at 82 miles per hour outside. Well, Chris on this homestand has 8 hits and 20 at bats for 400 average. 213 for Guzman. 2 homers. He's driven in 4. Chris was saying before the game he's been feeling it a little bit more comfortable at home plate, and the results certainly bear that out.
Well, if he finds it all the way, it will be patience that you thank in terms of getting him through all the difficult times.
Yes. Yeah, he said before the game, good thing it's a long season. Well, the length of the season can be very favorable for those guys who start slowly. Rio to Guzman. That's the 6th home run surrendered by Danks. He's in his 50th inning. Comes inside for a 4-pitch walk. And the walks, as you pointed out, have been numerous. That's 24 for him.
He got a fat pitch. Thing is, what you have to do when you're a power guy and you get a fat pitch is destroy it. And Chris Carter checked all the boxes on this one. And that's just ideal work. And then you talk about the walks. It's a club that's taking advantage in a number of ways right now.
Ralph Dickinson making note of that as Carter hit one a long way. Now it's LJ Hose. Ralph is the assistant hitting coach. And now new baseballs put into play after ball 1 to a 224 hitting LJ Hose with 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. Carter can hit some monster shots, can't he?
Easy power.
Danks upstairs with that one, falls behind, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. That'll bring out the catcher, Nieto. Danks' brother Jordan is an outfielder. He's currently at AAA Charlotte. They were together earlier this season on the White Sox. John was the 9th player drafted in 03 by Texas. Then the White Sox got him in a trade in 06. And he became a consistent winner 08, 09, 2010. That's a strike, 2-1. He went 12-9 in 08 with a 3.32 ERA. The next year 13-11 with a 3.77. Then 15-11, 3.72. Since then he's fallen on hard times and had shoulder surgery last year in August. Well, that was in 2012 rather. And the throw goes to first base to repair a capsular tear and minor debridement, whatever that is, Ash, of the rotator cuff and biceps in the left shoulder.
Thankfully, you and I have never had a debridement, but
no.
You know, in summing up, in assessing rather, what Danks is bringing here early on, it's short. It's topping out about 88.
Fly ball, right field corner to Ciedo, chasing it. That ball bounces and goes up and out of play for a double. Hose going the other way for double number 3 of the season. Guzman moves to third on the hit.
When a guy doesn't have the best of stuff, you really, as a club, have to feel like, let's go get this guy, and let's do it in a convincing way. And despite the Astros not scoring in the first inning, this double adding on to the hits already. 4 of them. There has been a walk. There's been a stolen base. One of the hits, a home run. Here are the double. And Brad Peacock looking really good on the hill. It's adding up nicely.
Carlos Corcoran has 2 ducks on the pond.
Those are stakes, Brownie.
Oh, stakes. Strike 1. Corcoran 159 with 4 homers, has 7 runs batted in. He has one of the best homer per at-bat ratios in Major League Baseball. 4 home runs in 44 at-bats, so 1 homer every 11 at-bats for Carlos. He's 1 for 4 with a homer on this homestand. That almost hit him. 1 ball, 1 strike. It was 3-run homer Tuesday against Texas. That was his last start at catcher. And the 3 runs batted in was a season high for him. He's homered in 4 of his last 12 games with a plate appearance. Jason Castro homered yesterday. In tight for a ball, 2-1. So Castro now and Corcoran have pretty good combined numbers. With Carlos hitting 4 homers and Jason hitting 6. That's 10 homers, 28 runs batted in for the 2 of them combined. Now sometimes they've both been in the lineup, one of them DHing. Those are not the numbers for Astros catchers in that position. 3 balls and a strike.
Don't let technicalities get in the way of a good story.
Yeah, why spoil a really nice day, Ash?
Well, we've got that.
By loading it down to stats.
You sit out yesterday evening, just a gorgeous evening.
Oh, it was pretty awesome. Ground ball to Pat Listash, third base coach. 3 balls, 2 strikes. White Sox are headed to Kansas City after this one. That'll be the final stop on the 3-city road trip for the Astros. We were mentioning stop number 1, taking them to Anaheim. Tomorrow night, it's late night baseball for Houston fans. Dallas Keuchel and Garrett Richards will square off. 8:30 for Astros pregame live. Corcoran's down on strikes. That's punch out number 2 for Danks. Carlos going for a high pitch that time. And it moves on to Jonathan Villar. Marwin Gonzalez was the starting shortstop in yesterday's game. Villar getting a day off. Villar has been in a downturn, so maybe the day off can allow him to pick up the pace. He's 2 for 15 on this homestand. Infield comes in now. Villar with 5 homers, 13 runs batted in, has really good numbers in the power department. 7 doubles and 2 triples. And moves the back foot out of the way. There's ball 1. Villar 1 for 4 in the opener of this series Friday night. Each club has won a game. The Astros took 2 of 3 from Texas in the previous series, so they're 3-2 on this homestand. He's wheeling on that one, and it's a 1 ball, 1 strike count. The opposite field approach worked very well for AT HOU earlier in this inning.
We talked, Brownie, about the top of the order really starting to put it together. If you want the bottom of the order to create runs, this guy is probably as big a key as anybody.
Smacks a line driver to left field. That'll score a couple. Oh, the ball gets by Diaza now. Villar into second base. He's going to take the turn. He's going to slam on the brakes. And the Astros lead it 3-0. Sharply hit line drive by Villar. Scoring Guzman and Hose, and Villar to second base.
Yesterday, early on, I thought Hector Noesi was destined for a very short outing. But he settled in and pitched pretty well. And I have the same feeling in watching Danks here early today. I don't think the stuff is there. I feel like the Astros should be able to get to him, but don't let it shut down too early.
An error on Diaza, his second. 2-run single for Villar, and he takes second on the error. Now Altuve bats. That is strike 1 to Jose. Reaching on the infield hit to third. He was just put together so many solid at-bats here in this tremendous stretch of hitting. 354 in the month of May for Altuve coming into this game. Runner to third. Here's the throw high and into left field. VR will score to make it 4-0 Astros. It'll be his 11th steal. He's in the top 10 in stolen bases and a second White Sox error of the inning. Nieto's first of the year allows the run to score.
Which one of these clubs is the scuffling young club?
Yeah.
Well, aggressiveness will run you out of innings at times. Other times it'll create innings. And it certainly doesn't hurt here.
Altuve on the 0-2 pitch takes a wide one. Altuve stole third in the first inning, his 15th. VR now stealing third, his 11th. The Astros have 35 steals this year. Altuve's down on strikes. Third strikeout. It's out number 2. Banks has 64 major league wins, 77 losses, and a 4.23 ERA. George Springer lined a hit to left field in the first inning. Ball 1. It's always interesting to talk with people on the other club, in this case the White Sox. Their broadcasters really impressed with George Springer and his abilities. 2-0. George was saying today before the game that he feels much better playing right field than he did earlier this spring, making the transition from center field this year. 2 balls, 1 strike. Talked about the wind. We've had some windy nights on this homestand, and that's made it more difficult. And the fact that he finds the most difficult play for the right fielder to be right down in foul territory where that fence curves around.
Yeah. A couple of respect changeups right there after falling behind 2-0.
He's made some major modifications in his hitting, and it's been evident this homestand with tremendous results. A strikeout for Danks, his number 4. Carter started with a loud sound here in the second inning. Home run number 6 of the year. Then VR had the 2-run single. The Astros jumped out to a very nice lead, 4-0 after 2.
We head to the top of the third. Brad Peacock striking out 11 his last time out. And Bo Porter said after that game, that's the best I've ever seen him. Breaking stuff especially. But he also had command. That's something Peacock's been working on all season and last year as well. But there was one pitch that stuck with him. It was that hanging slider to Adrian Beltre. And after watching some video, he told me that what he called was babying his slider. That's what he was doing. He was throwing it around 84, 85 miles per hour when last year was around 89. So Peacock trying to be a little more aggressive these days, guys.
Thanks, Julia. And now he has a 4-0 lead. Alexei Ramirez shortened up on it, taking strike one. Alexei is hitting .322. That's tied for second in the American League with 5 homers, 28 runs batted in. And just outstanding numbers. .480 slugging percentage for the hard-hitting shortstop. In for a strike. 0-2. Now Alexei steps out. I think these White Sox hitters are wise to Peacock being better with a faster pace, and they're trying to counter that. It's 1-2.
I love the pace that we're looking at with Brad Peacock right now. And I'd love to see the umpires force the hitters to stay with it. But
look at that. Last inning, he had a 12-second pace between pitches. Early's the fastest for the season with 16.
You know, there's been talk at times around Major League Baseball to keep it, make sure pitches get thrown every 15 seconds. Well, 12 seconds is just really nice. And you can see he just kind of keeps it going. But
3-2.
Since he has incorporated this in his game, there has been more consistency with his pitches.
Well, and he said the other day, not as much time to think, micromanage things between pitches. And now a leadoff walk goes Ramirez's way.
Well, that's our fault right there.
Yeah, we jinxed him.
You know, we started thinking too much for him.
Now it may slow down, of course. Most pitchers do with men on base. The pace is different. And now Diaz is the batter. Diaz at 190 has 4 homers. He's driven in 15 runs. He is 2 for 6 with an RBI and a couple of walks in this series. Alejandro, 30 years old, from the Dominican Republic. Came up with Florida in 07. He takes, and it's high for ball 1. Nieto on deck.
First inning was perfect in terms of command for Peacock. Second inning, a little fleeting, at least with the first hitter. Really turned it on with Adam Dunn and Paul Konerko. But here as he starts the third, again, a little bit of that fleeting command. Brent Strom is doing quite a job with the guys.
He really is. It's 2 balls, no strikes.
That's a little slider that Julia was just talking about, up to 85 this time. I'm not sure he needs more based on his last outing with it.
Well, Guzman went over to say something. Ramirez, the runner at first, has 7 steals and 8 tries. And the stolen base would not be as big a concern for a pitcher here with a 4-0 lead in the 3rd inning normally. Always nice to keep the double play in order, though. Now 3-0. Peacock 0-5 in his last 11 outings. 7 of those starts with a 5.40 ERA. That's a walk, and now back-to-back walks have the White Sox thinking perhaps they can have a nice inning and get back in this game with Nieto batting.
Comcast Business takes you inside the game as we look at Brad Peacock and the walks early on in the season. And last year were, well, they were prohibitive to him being really successful. But he's gotten much better in May until we start talking about it. Well, we'll see if we can lay out a little bit and see if that helps Brad find the strike zone again. But yeah, May up until a couple of hitters ago, very good for Brad.
Are you advocating the announcerless game?
Well, wow. Who was that? The NFL?
Yeah.
Way back when?
That's right.
No, I am not.
Okay, good. You said something. You had me worried there.
When it's all said and done, no is the answer.
Adrian Nieto at 258 has no homers, 1 RBI. Switch hitting catcher. And Tyler Flowers off to a nice start. He's hitting .306 as the #1 catcher. Nieto's had just 31 at bats. 24 years old. And guess where he's from? Cuba.
Well, they've got a few. How many Cubans on this team?
Well, let's see. There's Viciedo and Ramirez and the big fellow Abreu and Nieto. That's 4 we know of. And beyond that, we'll have to check some resumes, but probably 4.
Yeah, that's rather remarkable.
Yeah. Probably tops in the big leagues, isn't it?
Would think so.
Nieto became the first catcher since '07 to go from Class A to the big leagues. He was a Rule 5 draft choice last December. He was with Washington. He had gone to high school in Florida.
There you go.
After coming from Cuba, 1 ball and 1 strike, and he was on a state championship team in Florida. But last year he played at Potomac, Class A Potomac. Hit .285, 11 homers, 53 runs batted in. Good walk to strikeout ratio, and yet very few catchers make that jump from A ball. Outside, and it's 2-0. So Nieto, somebody to watch for the future, perhaps. He's thrown out 14% of those, trying to steal. The last catcher to go from A to the majors in the Rule 5 draft, Jesus Flores with Washington in '07. Now Washington lost this guy, and he did it with another team. 2-2.
Sometimes when you start missing all over the place, as Peacock has been, it's hard to get the umpire to call those close pitches at the bottom of the knees, maybe the corners as well.
Nieto smokes one up the middle into center field. Ramirez is being sent home by Joe McEwing. Fowler throws into Guzman, and the White Sox are on the board, trailing 4-1. RBI single Nieto, his 2nd run batted in.
That falls into the category of you hang it, I bang it.
Yeah. Sitting right up there for him. He got a good look at it.
Look at this curveball. It's kind of a launch job, and right on by the shoulder going into center field.
Now the Sox, with this 7-8-9 rally, have 1 run home, runners at first and second, nobody out, and Eaton, the batter, and the leadoff man with a good RBI figure for the year, 14, takes ball 1. Eaton played in a doubleheader for Charlotte on Friday on his rehab assignment. He had a couple of hits. He had been out with a strained right hamstring. He was tied for 7th in runs scored in the American League when he was hurt. That's a sharp ground ball single into right field. McEwing puts up a stop sign here, and the throw from Springer comes right there on the fly to Corcoran. Good move by McEwing as Eaton singles to load the bases.
As long as nobody can move up on a throw that's over the cutoff man's head, everything's fine, and that was impressive. Springer does have a good strong throwing arm, but otherwise hit that cutoff man.
Check this out.
It's just kind of a launch job to the plate.
Just playing catch from 380 feet, Ash.
When you got it, go ahead and show it off, huh?
Well, it was more like 340.
See, there you go, getting technical again.
That's a pretty good fastball, isn't it?
Put him on the hill sometime.
Bases loaded, and it's Beckham. Beckham struck out earlier. Now big trouble for Peacock. And that's strike 1. Here's the Springer throw again.
Again, for me, I think that you always want to get in the habit of hitting the cutoff man. Get your cutoff man, though, to understand the arm. In this case, you want to come back toward the plate a little bit more, because this is a very strong arm.
Little tap. Peacock will come home for the first play. Corcoran to first. 1, 2, 3, double play.
Well, could you get anything to work any better? I guess you could argue triple play wouldn't work too badly right there, but that's a nice start. Get that tapper back to the mound. You know it's going to come toward the plate. As soon as that ball was hit, you know that Beckham realized, oh no, I've done it. But you still have to make the play. Good toss to set up Corp.
Now with runners at second and third and 2 down, it's Connor Gillespie. Jerome Williams had just started to warm up before that double play. He's still throwing. Curveball missing. There's ball 1 to Gillespie, who grounded out earlier. Gillespie now with 6 hits in his last 14 at bats. He spent some downtime with a left hand contusion. He was on the disabled list until May 6th. Had an 11-game hitting streak earlier this year, a career high for him. This one goes foul and back into the seats for a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
To see Jerome Williams up throwing at this stage of things feels either premature or that Bo Porter knows something about Brad Peacock and his physicality today that we don't know.
True. Peacock went 6 2/3 inning 2 starts ago in Detroit. 6 innings last time against Texas. He lost the Detroit game 3-2 and losing 4-0 last time out. He's had 3 straight starts of at least 6 innings, though. Fly ball out to center field. Fowler backing on it. And the double play really big in the inning. That limits the damage to 1 run for the White Sox on 2 hits, 2 men left, 4-1 Houston.
To tweet your photo using hashtag CSNHFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game telecast. It's the Comcast Sportsnet Fan Photo, and it's brought to you by AT&T. Brownie.
Thanks, Julia. The Astros lead at 4-1 as the fans enjoy a sunny afternoon here at Minute Maid Park. This is just the beginning of a stretch of 16 consecutive days of baseball for the Astros. That started on Friday. Now it'll be Fowler, Dominguez, and Carter in the Houston third with the Astros up 4-1. Fowler struck out after the first 2 Astros had hits in the game. Strike 1 to Fowler. Yesterday the Astros got 4 runs in the first, and then they held on to win it 6-5. 1-1. Bo Porter meets with the media every day on the bench. And he was asked today about his conversations at the mound with the starter Jared Kozart yesterday. 2-1. So in other words, why would he go to the mound rather than the pitching coach? He said, well, it's different in different situations. He said, I normally don't disclose those conversations, but I will tell a little bit of a story about yesterday. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He said after the 4th, Jared and I talked in the tunnel, and I told him, look, I know you've been struggling, but I want you to get 3 more outs, and then we'll get the win. And he sent him back out there for the 5th. Can you get 3 more outs? Jared said, yeah. So he sent him back out for the 5th. He got the first 2 guys, then gave up 2 hits, and Bo went to the mound again. And he said, well, how do you feel now? And Jared said, well, I said I could get 3 more outs. There's a line drive to left field, and it bangs off the wall, kicks back toward the infield. Now Fowler cruises into second base, and the ball is picked up in left field as he checks in with a double, his 6th of the year.
Dexter Fowler is an on-base machine here recently. It's great to see for the club. He is not the base thief that 2 or 3 other guys in the club are, but he's slotting in very nicely in this 3-hole. He's got some pop from this right side of the plate.
He does. He came into this game hitting .316 as a right-handed batter, 248 left. Turned towards second. Fowler gets back. Beckham went to the base. So when Bo Porter went to the mound on Cozart, he had the 1-run lead, and he had 2 men on, 2 outs in the 5th inning. Cozart said, well, I said I could get 3 outs without them scoring again, and they haven't scored yet. So I'll get this 3rd out, and he did.
You know, I posed what was going on at that time as a monologue, or actually I said conversation, and I said, but it takes 2 people to be in a conversation, and all of a sudden Cozart started speaking behind the glove.
Yeah.
And so obviously that's what Jared was saying. Look, you know, you proposed it to me, I'm ready to bring it to you.
And it worked out. And Jared went 5 innings, giving up 7 hits, 3 runs, got the victory 6-5. Domingo with a soft swing falls behind, 0-1 in the count.
Sometimes those opportunities provided by the manager can go so far, not only over the course of a season, but maybe even a career. I think back to Darryl Kyle and Mike Hampton and what Larry Dierker had as an impact on them, enabling them to stay into ball games and kind of maybe further realize what they were capable of doing.
Yes.
I think that just went a long ways.
Sure did. 1-1. Yeah, he told the starting pitchers when he took over as the manager prior to '97, if you're in the on-deck circle in the 6th inning and we're down by a run, don't be looking over to see about a pinch hitter. It's your game.
Here's the deal. Rather than look over here at that time, take some extra batting practice.
In the dirt again. Danks is wobbling a little bit here. It's 2 balls and a strike. He's thrown the last 2 in the dirt. Nieto staying down to block them. So that stories like that do tell you a little bit about the interplay between the starting pitcher and the manager and the determination to stay in a game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Danks, who got Dominguez on strike 1 there, now 2-2 in the count. When he starts off with strike 1 on a hitter, the batting average against him is .223. When he starts off with ball 1, it's .292 after that. In tight ball 3. Dominguez exercising good judgment. He has worked the count full. He's a .344 hitter against the White Sox in his career. The Astros and White Sox have divided 30 games between each other in play since they started during the regular season. Fly ball high, and Eaton way back. Eaton's out of room at the 404 sign. It kicks off the wall. That's a home run. A 2-run shot by Matt Dominguez, and the Astros lead grows to 6-1. Number 6 for Dominguez, giving him 16 runs batted in.
Third base umpire, the crew chief, Ted Barrett, with the call on the home run. And I don't know if he put the home run signal up early. Everybody stopped. That's no fun to have a home run trot that leaves you stopping at second base, but I guess you still take it as you can bring it all the way in.
He put it up early. Domingo just didn't see it. So he stopped at second.
That is a long, high drive.
That it is. Now Chris Carter, who hit a long high drive for his 6th homer, looks at strike one. Now the Astros are 11-3 when they hit 2 or more homers this year. Carter with number 6, Dominguez with number 6 in this game. Strike there, and it's 0-2. There were some very puny numbers, as you know, for some of these hitters a couple of weeks ago. But several guys have gotten hot at the same time since they were all cold at the same time.
Well, it happens for all clubs over the course of the year. When it happens early on in the season and is prolonged, you get the sense that, yeah, maybe we're just not a very good offensive club. We'll see.
The field is shifted around. Carter strikes out. That's number 5 for Danks.
This is the home run by Matt Dominguez. And what I'm curious about is, after that very good swing, what is the thought in center field? Looks to me like the center fielder thought he had a play on this ball initially.
Looked like it.
Ball gets up in that breeze, and the breeze is blowing out over the tracks.
It is a pretty strong one today. Now Jesus Guzman looks at strike one. Adam Eaton playing his first game in this ballpark. Guzman at 213. Looking at the high pitch from Danks, it's 1-1. Danks has a 7.41 ERA in May. Now back, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's a big man in this rotation for the White Sox. Chris Sale, their number 1 starter, should be rejoining them in a few days. He's on a rehab assignment right now for Robin Ventura.
Robin Ventura looks like a man without a worry.
He does look calm and composed. Foul back. Danks last year was 4-14 with a 4.75 ERA. 16 years for Robin, 10 with the Sox. Batman and Robin, remember those days?
Very well.
He played with Frank Thomas.
Frank was the Batman.
Robin was a good hitter himself.
Yes, he was. Mr. Grand Slam, huh?
Yeah. Here's a flashback.
So maybe Ventura isn't always calm, or maybe this has taught him to stay calm. Don't ever do this again.
Yeah.
I never, ever saw that side of Nolan Wright.
High drive hit to left center field. And Guzman is aboard with a hit on a 1-2 count. That's the 3rd hit of the inning, and the Astros are tattooing Danks.
Nolan used to scream at the offense in the dugout when they were failing to score runs. He'd get on you pretty good. But I never thought he was within a heartbeat of taking it out on you like that.
That's 8 hits for the Astros. LJ Ho's doubled inside the right field line and scored in the 2nd inning. Ground ball to 3rd. Gillespie to 2nd. And then Beckham relays it for a 5-4-3 double play to end the 3rd. The Astros settling for 2 runs on 3 hits. After 3, they lead it 6-1.
chance to win awesome Astros prizes, from autographed baseballs to game day tickets and more. Just tweet at CSN Houston, hashtag CSN Baseball Suites, and you could win Houston Astros prizes now through May 31st from CSN. Ronnie.
Look forward to it, Julia. Thank you. That's right now. You can take part in that. The Astros lead it 6-1. And Julia, of course, and the traveling party all packed for the road trip, which begins after this game with a long flight to Anaheim. Viciedo grounded back to Peacock earlier. Then another long flight to Seattle. 4 games there. And then back to Kansas City for 3.
What's the chance you think Julia could do it this afternoon in dry clothing?
Well, she's been drenched a few times this year. 1 ball, 1 strike.
They hang on to this right here. I'm good to go.
Oh.
That's what you need to do your interviews with.
Take your umbrella down there for the on-the-field interview.
You need a raincoat, too.
Wear a rain
That's
slicker.
not safe.
Yeah, you could do that. That would keep you dry. That's fouled off the screen. And did you happen to see the post-game interview with Mike Trout the other night out in Anaheim, Julia, when he had the game winner?
I did not.
Well, he was being interviewed on camera, and he kept looking around expecting to get it, and he never got it.
It was spooked.
Yeah. Fly ball, shallow right field. Springer's coming in. Altuve's calling for it with his back to the infield. Okay.
Wow.
He wanted to make a flashy catch. No, you know, he wanted to look away from the sun. I think that's why he didn't turn, because the sun would have been in his eyes.
Ooh, a little unusual.
Yeah.
And now look at the pitch by pitch brought to you by Steel Dealers. We turn back to Adam Dunn against Brad Peacock, who just pumps one right down the middle, and another. And I think Adam Dunn wanted those. Then he goes filthy on him, down and away. And Dunn just didn't have a chance after taking the first 2.
So Dunn retired very quickly last time up. There's Palmer. Now tomorrow night in Anaheim, when you and Jeff Plum work the Dallas Keuchel Garrett Richards matchup, you will be working with somebody who's done something that nobody else has ever done in the history of the World Series. Ash.
Really?
He hit the latest home run in terms of innings in World Series history. 14th inning homer for the White Sox here against the Astros.
Well, you're talking about Mr. Jeff Plum and the big time swing.
That's right.
Oh, boy, that little slider. Put a little challenge on the home plate umpire.
2 balls and a strike.
So Jeff is the all-timer with that swing.
Yes.
Very cool.
Dunn looks at it. That's in for a strike to the Houston native. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Adam Dunn.
I once hit one late in batting practice. Yeah, there it is. Down and in, wheelhouse. Well, he looks good in that uni, too.
He does. Looks thin, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's a big fella. I refer to him as the Beast because he just dwarfs me.
Foul ball right back up here. Keeps the count at 2-2. So that's Jeff Blum. Remember him?
I do.
You'll be back with him tomorrow night.
He was Blondie back in those days.
You'll have Dallas Keuchel 4-2 with a 3.06, and Garrett Richards 4-0 with a 2.42 tomorrow night.
Wow. Could be one of those pitching nights, huh?
Struck him out looking. Number 3.
Well, Adam Dunn is having a tough time figuring out Brad Peacock. And spins that slider on him. Just drops the hammer at the knees.
Outstanding pitch. Now Konerko, he hit a fly ball to right in the 2nd inning. And of course, Paul knew when he decided to come back and play another year for the White Sox that he would not probably be playing a whole lot. Abreu a big part of the picture this year.
Well, they dropped a bit more than the minimum on Abreu, and that should tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. It's 1-1. So Paul, this is his 50th at bat of the season.
All-time White Sox home runs. It's going to be hard to get to Frank Thomas there.
Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Frank Thomas with the same birthday as I recall of Jeff Bagwell, huh?
You are correct, sir.
Same actual day.
Yeah, you win a trip to Anaheim later today.
Thanks for that. How about a meal to go with that, and I'll take it.
You'll get that, and you get some fries. Pop back and out of play. Don't want it to. You get fries with that.
Curly fries?
Yeah.
Okay, you got a deal.
They'll fix it up for you. You might even get a delectable dessert from your friends at the United.
Drive a hard bargain, but I'll take it.
It's going to be a long road trip. 10 games, Ash.
Mm-hmm. Keenly aware.
But the Angels are a pretty worthy opponent right now.
You'll buoy me with your texts.
We'll be watching every minute. Angels are in second place. Struck him out. That's number 4 for Peacock. And now we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Astros up by 5, 6-1.
Six to 1 over the White Sox. Astros, Dynamo, Rockets, and more. We have all your sports news covered. Check out Sportsnet Central every night at 6:10 and midnight on Comcast Sportsnet. Carlos Corporon always ready when his name is called to catch for Jason Castro on the days that Castro has off. He prides himself on being prepared. But, hey, offensively he's getting it done, too. In the small amount of at-bats he's got, he's averaging a home run every 11 at-bats there. And I talked to him about this today. He wasn't aware that it was that good for him, but he said, yeah, I just try to take a good approach. But all that stuff is a bonus. I'm really just trying to take care of my pitchers out there. The rest of it's just icing on the cake, guys.
Thanks, Julia. He takes here, and it's strike one for John Danks. Corp struck out back in the second inning, but the Astros have had their licks today. 6 runs on 8 hits. He looks at that for a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Well, let's look up his defensive statistics, Julia, because they keep those on catchers now. Catchers ERA and the team's record when they catch. Does that mean anything to you, Ash?
Surely it does. Now, in a limited amount of views there, I probably wouldn't put too much stock in it. But over a lengthy period of time, over the course of the year, I think it's valid.
12 starts. The Astros 5-7 in his starts. And his ERA, so to speak, catcher's ERA when he is behind the plate is 3.91.
Quality stuff on a club that has an ERA considerably higher than that.
2-2. VR on deck. Late swing there and a strikeout. That's number 6. It's a crazy game for Danks. 6 strikeouts through 3 1/3, but 8 hits and 6 runs allowed.
In watching Danks, I'm more surprised by the strikeouts today.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have that high octane stuff, does he? Not a lot of movement. Jonathan VR had the 2-run single off him in the second inning. We talked about the series with the Astros and the Halos coming up. starting tomorrow night. The Halos are 23-19. They're 3.5 behind Oakland. Oakland has a .628 winning percentage right now. The Angels have won 7 of their last 10. And yet their batting averages aren't looking that great. No balls, 2 strikes. And we talked about Trout the other night. Trout had the game winner. He had a sensational game. That was his first ever walk-off homer, and he made a diving catch in that game. Fly ball left. That's a looper, and that's going to fall in for another hit for VR. He takes a big turn, slams on the brakes, and the throw goes in. Good pickup by Beckham on the short hop. VR was looking for a chance to stretch it, but he's 2 for 2.
Well, that was perfection by VR, and we'll get back to that.
All right, let's look at Trout first. He's doing the interview with Jose Mota, looking around for the cooler. And where are they? Where are they? They're going to dump me with an ice-down sports drink.
Is that a baseball player or a rugby or football player right there?
He flinched, Ash.
Yeah, he did.
He flinched during the interview.
Hard to believe.
So we found something that Mike Trout did not do perfectly.
Well, he flinched well. Quick reactions.
Altuve to center field. Adam Eaton waiting. 2 down.
Yeah, he's something. Actually, he hasn't been a hot hitter in May. Has really had his struggles. But he does other things to keep it going.
Yeah. Now Springer, he singled to left in the first inning and then struck out.
Okay, Brownie, you're talking about the Angels, and they are second in the American League in runs per game, just under the 5 mark. The Oakland A's are actually leading in runs per game. That actually surprises me.
Well, it does. There's ball 1 to Springer, because just checking the individual batting averages of people like Mike Trout and Albert Pujols today before the game, they're not in their normal neighborhoods.
Pujols, another guy that struggled in May, despite hitting some home runs.
So they must be just collectively doing it as a team. Career against the Astros, this is what we remember, right?
Well, Pujols with those numbers really coming as a St. Louis Cardinal, and he was one of the game's unbelievable hitters. Howie Kendrick is the guy that sneaks up on a lot of folks. This guy's a good player.
He is having a good year. He's above 300 on his batting average, I believe. Ball 2, and it's 2-0 to Springer. Springer and Dexter Fowler have become good friends. Dexter invited George to move in with the Fowlers for a few days until he found his own place. Now his place is close to theirs.
Is there a sitcom there?
There's got to be a sitcom there. But it might be canceled.
Likely will be.
Strike. 2-1.
Get yourself through those first 8 episodes and maybe things will work.
Yeah, shall we do something before we have a sitcom in professional sports?
I don't know.
Okay, that's not a good idea. Try to establish a career maybe first.
Well, it's just not necessary anymore.
Maybe it's not about that. It's 3 balls and a strike to George Springer. Very engaging young man.
Who are the leading hitters batting average wise for the LA Angels of Anaheim right about now?
Howie Kendrick.
Colin Cowgill.
Oh.
Then Howie Kendrick.
Okay.
Followed by Eric Ibar.
What's Cowgill hitting?
315.
Okay.
And then come Mike Trout and Albert Pujols. David Freese down that list.
Freese hasn't had much of a year, has he?
Not yet.
He's been hurt.
202. J.B. Shuck recalled to the club, hitting 173. Raul Ibanez at the tender age of 42, hitting 148, despite some big swings for the team.
148?
Yep.
So it must be pitching then. But you said they were second in runs scored?
They are second in runs scored. You know, this is one where you have to kind of go figure. 47 dingers for the club.
Okay. There goes, and it's fouled. Springer took a big swing on that one.
That's the changeup that got him the last at bat.
How are they scoring all these runs on homers then, right?
Yeah, it really is tough to figure. Again, the Angels have pitched much better than people anticipated. They have a 3.80 ERA, 6th best in the league, but but the runs per game, second in the league, trailing only the White Sox. These Chicago White Sox are third.
Runner goes, ground ball, diving. There's Gillespie getting up and throwing out a hustling Springer. No runs, a hit, and a man left after 4. 6-1 Houston.
Coming stars in baseball as the Corpus Christi Hooks take on the San Antonio Missions at Minute Maid Park Tuesday, June 10th. Get your tickets today by calling 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com. Guys.
Thanks, Julia. We look forward to that Tuesday, June 10th at 6:10. And the Hooks have a good club again this year. Today, they're at home. And, Julia, there was something on Twitter that they're giving away a TV to a fan every inning during their game. Yeah. Seriously, they are. They got a local.
Can I make it to Corpus sometime?
You could.
What time is the game? If
you borrowed Jim Crane's plane, you could get there.
That's awesome.
Alexi Ramirez walked and scored in the third. There's strike one. 6-1 lead for the Astros. They've out-hit the White Sox 9-2. Chicago has 2 errors. 322 for Alexi. It's 1-1. Peacock retired the first 6, then back-to-back walks to Ramirez and Diaza in the third were followed by Nieto's RBI single and Eaton single. So it resembled yesterday's game a little bit at that point, but then he got the 1-2-3 double play and a fly ball to center. Working very quickly. There's a roller to first. Guzman with the play. And everybody talks about that. Boy, they love guys that work quickly. The fielders make better plays behind them. Not as much concentration required. Not so many lapses. Ash?
I think it's ideal, and I think it serves the pitcher well. You look at guys that start to slow it down enormously. I just can't imagine what's running through the head the whole time. It's you know, I turn to golf a lot, but if you're thinking about this and that and all kinds of things before you swing, you're probably in a big trouble spot.
Strike to Diaza. Oh, so that's what's going on.
Well, not for you, but for others who do struggle.
But what about when you hit a lousy shot and somebody says, did you think about so-and-so and you didn't?
Yeah, keep it up. I don't know.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Have you ever had that experience? You actually hit a bad shot and somebody threw that one out for you?
Oh yeah. All the time. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, whatever. Brad really likes the way this rhythm works for him.
It's working right now. I hope he sticks with it. I'd like to see others follow suit. Dallas Keuchel is in that same ballpark.
Now, who would you say is the slowest pitcher you've ever seen, Will?
What was the guy's name with the Indians a handful of years ago that they actually
put the slow down balls on him. Bullpen pitcher for the Indians was among the slowest I've ever seen.
Yeah. Hot shot to first. Guzman has it. 2 outs.
Yuniesky Betancourt, is that who it was? Or that was the shortstop, Raphael. Yeah.
Raphael Betancourt.
Yuniesky was slow at shortstop occasionally, but
okay, so it's Raphael Betancourt. Yes. I didn't remember him being that slow.
Well, is that the guy that I want to say?
There are a lot of candidates.
Yeah,
there are many candidates.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure that would be one. You could probably put 50 names on the list.
You could.
None would be popular with me.
Nieto had the RBI single in the 3rd. Ooh, tight curveball looked pretty good, didn't it?
That's perfect. You can't throw a better curveball than that.
That's the best looking ball we've seen all day.
Yes, it was.
And now a line drive hit to right field by Nieto. Springer picks it up. And it's a 2-out single for the number 9 hitter. He's 2 for 2 in this game.
We have seen 2 very good swings from this young left-hand hitter. Boy. Caught a break not having the first pitch called a strike on him, but look at that aggressive hat.
Yes.
Shot a BB back up the middle of his first at bat. This is why he's getting big league meal money right now.
Now Adam Eaton. Eaton singled in the 3rd inning. He's 1 for 2. VR moves up the middle on him. Nice play by Corcoran there to dig that one out. Ball 1. Eaton was traded to the White Sox in December in that 3-team deal. Hector Santiago went from the White Sox to the Angels. Mark Trumbo went from the Angels to Arizona. That was a rather complex transaction. Eaton had hit .252 for Arizona. Whoa! Eaton takes a spill. It's 1-1.
You show bunt and then wow. I'm not sure all the going down was required here, but
he knocked himself down.
He did. All on a foul ball.
Oh, I didn't anticipate that pitch being up there. Lost his balance and hit the deck. But if a pitcher is about to deliver and he sees that guy squaring around, that's a pretty good place to throw the pitch, isn't it?
They used to always say on the squeeze, you see the guy turn, throw it up and kind of around that head region or behind him if possible. Depending on which side of the plate. If he's a right-hand hitter, left, you want to throw it away.
Bouncer, VR coming in. VR steps on the bag and then gets the force out. It's no runs a hit and a man left. It's 6-1 Houston in the 5th.
history is brought to you by MD Anderson, making cancer history. Turn back to May 18th of 2004. Randy Johnson is the subject of our discussion, age of 40. Randy Johnson became the oldest pitcher ever to record a perfect game when he and the Diamondbacks beat the Braves 2-0. Big unit joined Cy Young, Jim Bunning, Hideo Nomo, Nolan Ryan as the only pitchers to throw no-hitters in both leagues. A rather impressive career for Randy Johnson. He was a large unit.
6-1 ball game. The Astros lead it, and Dexter Fowler, who's 1 for 2 with a double, takes ball 1. John Danks has been really working hard today, allowing 6 runs on 9 hits. And he's fallen behind a fair number of the hitters, and yet still in this ball game. Yesterday, Hector Noesi gave up 4 in the first, but he managed to go 6 innings and gave up 6 runs, 5 earned. 3-0, and Bo Porter said after the game that the catch Moises Sierra made to end the first inning on the number 9 Astros hitter, and that was Marwin Gonzalez. A diving catch in right field was one of the keys to the game because the Astros felt that they were close to getting Noesi out of the game. There's a 4-pitch walk to Fowler, and that's number 2 for Danks. So they could have gotten deep into the Sox bullpen early in the game and did not. Had to hang on to win it by 1.
What is it about Dexter Fowler drawing all these walks? He presents a big strike zone.
He does.
He's not your league leader in home runs kind of guy, and yet he's coaxing a lot of free passes.
Last year he walked 65 times. He has 25 walks already this year. Well ahead of last year's pace. There's strike 1 to Dominguez. So not too sure about that, Ash.
Yeah, I don't have a response at all.
Domingo looks at it. It's 1-1. The Athletics are trying to sweep the Indians. They lead 10-3 at Cleveland in the bottom of the 7th. Jesse Chavez started. He went 5. Oakland offense really clicking. That is gone. 2-run shot by Matt Dominguez off the facing above the Landry's Crawford boxes. Home run number 2 of the day, number 7 of the season. He's driven in 4, and it's 8-1.
Well, a lot of people spend their time talking about, okay, so who is going to be the long-term third baseman for the Astros? And a lot of times Matt Dominguez's name doesn't get involved in that conversation. I think he's saying, don't forget about me. This guy is a big fellow with big-time power. I would honestly say he's got that chance to be the 25 to 30-plus home run type of third baseman. Can he hit for batting average to go along with it?
8-1 Astros. That's 10 hits. Dominguez really exploding with the swings in the 3rd and 5th innings here. Carter out in front of that one. It's 1-1. And the Astros, with 3 home runs today, now have 48 this year. 44 games. 2 balls and a strike. Pretty good pace. Since May 10th, the Astros team has hit .296. 3rd best batting average in the majors. They have the 7th best slugging percentage in the majors, .462, and the 2nd best on base average, .370, since May 10th. That's out to right center field. Carter on the move. Eaton gets over there. 1 out. He got over there early. Looked like he slipped a little bit. It almost looked like he was on ice skates.
What was our second baseman's name with the Astros back in the 80s? Named him Skates. Because he was sliding all over the AstroTurf. Oh, boy. Shame on me for forgetting that name.
It wasn't Julio Gonzalez.
No, it was not. It was after that, well after that.
Guzman, the batter. Well, there was Lonnie Skate Smith, of course, the outfielder. But you're not talking about him.
No, second baseman. played rather briefly with Houston. Yeah,
1-1.
Should not be forgetting that name. He was an impactful player with the rest of the players on the team. Well liked.
That's the third multi-home run game for Matt Dominguez. The last time he hit 2 in a game was May 25th of 2013 against Toronto. Three balls and a strike. Dexter Fowler has now walked in 8 consecutive games. It's quite a walk streak for Fowler. Foul back. It's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Fowler's reached base safely in 16 games in a row. And he has scored twice. The Astros had not had a home run from a cleanup man all season until yesterday. Castro hit 1. Now Dominguez hitting cleanup today has hit 2.
It's going to be the most coveted spot in the batting order here soon.
Guzman draws a walk, and now Dang's trailing 8-1, really scuffling in this inning. The 97 Astros did not have a homer from a cleanup man until their 61st game. The 8 runs today ties the Astros high in a game this year. It's the 3rd time they've done it. They did it against Texas 5 days ago. So twice in one homestand, they have equaled their best output in runs. Hose looks at it, and it's strike 1. We're going to have to look up who the cleanup man was in 97 on the Astros. I think it was a number of people. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sean Berry might have been the guy part of the time. Didn't realize they went 61 games without a home run by a cleanup man that year.
Well, the guys that might have factored in Derek Bell, of course, Jeff Bagwell.
Bell usually hits second, Bagwell third. Daniel Webb's one.
And there was Sean Berry, as you mentioned, and Luis Gonzalez. I don't think Chucky Carr was the guy.
No, Chucky wasn't the guy. Hose strikes out. That is 7 strikeouts for Danks.
Fans follow every Astros game with MLB.tv at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, score, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit Astros.com today. Sure, the Play Store must be involved there too.
Jerk foul. Strike 1. Carlos Corbin has struck out twice. Let's see. We're just looking at the people who are on the 97 team. Guessing that Luis Gonzalez probably had cleaned up a fair number of times. And Sean Berry. And maybe Thomas Tank Howard. We'll have to check on that.
I didn't remember that Bobby Abreu played on that team.
Well,
briefly.
You probably would have a lot of company on that one. Good point. 2 balls and a strike. Then the expansion draft came along after that. He left. Hit by the pitch. Corp got it on the left arm. Thanks, just really having all kinds of problems getting out of this 5th inning here. He's thrown 106 pitches. Now, Nathan Lucero, the head athletic trainer, is coming out.
Yeah, this hurts on Corp. He really hung in there playing the part of the tough hombre. But right on the elbow, that's got hurt.
He just froze as if the pain was setting in at that point. Second time he's been hit this year. Now Robin Ventura will make the move. He's got Daniel Webb in the bullpen. And Danks will leave after 4 2/3. So far he's allowed 10 hits, 8 runs. He's walked 3, hit a batter, and struck out 7. And the score is the Astros 8, the White Sox 1. We'll be right back. All is brought to you by AT & T Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. Beautiful sunny day, warm day downtown in Houston at Minute Maid Park. Fans getting a tan there. And they're watching Webb come out of the bullpen. Daniel Webb, he's 24 years old from Paducah, Kentucky. He worked in last night's game, 1 2/3 innings, gave up 2 hits, no runs. 16 games, he's 3-0 with a 2.78 ERA.
It's always intriguing when a guy has this kind of variance. 154 for left-hand hitters, righties hitting over 300 against him. One pitch that is successful against one side of the plate and not the other.
Marwin Gonzalez is going to pinch hit for Jonathan Villar. Villar is 2 for 2 with 2 runs batted in and a run scored. Gonzalez started the game at shortstop yesterday. And he comes in now with the Astros up 8-1. Doesn't look like there's anything wrong with Villar. 275 for Marwin. He has 1 homer. He's driven in 2. And there's Paul. Maybe just the 8-1 score here and wanting to get Marwin a little more playing time. Last night he was 0 for 3 with the sac bunt. But Villar did have that game off last night. There are a lot of managers, though, will take an opportunity like this to get bench players in the game. 2-0 the count. Keep them fresh. In this stretch, as we talked earlier, 16 consecutive games for the Astros until their next day off. That just started on Friday. So the whole roster is going to come into play for Bo Porter during this stretch. In tight for a ball. That makes it 3-0.
Joe Pittman, by the way, was that infielder that the guys called Skates?
Shoes.
Joe Shoes, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes. I guess I took that down the wrong footwear path.
How many pairs of shoes allegedly did he have?
I'm trying to remember.
400?
You know what? He was Joe Shoes, but the guy started calling him Skates because of the way he was sliding around on the turf one or two nights. So my story was partly accurate.
Yeah. Hey, it was good to see our old friend Buddy Bell today before the game.
One of my great friends in the game. Started rookie ball together back in 1969. It's hard to believe.
He was talking about his year with Houston, 1988. Just what a good clubhouse it was that year. He's in his 11th year with the White Sox. He's the vice president and assistant general manager. There's a hot shot, backhanded Beckham, and he throws over to Konerko. It's 2 runs on 1 hit for the Astros. They leave to the second home run of the day from Matt Dominguez, has driven in 4, and they're up 8-1.
the Astros on top, and time to introduce you to our progressive fan of the game. I'm sitting with Terry out here in the Crawford boxes. Terry's from Baton Rouge, but made the drive down here. You said, what, 4.5 hours to get here?
Yeah.
How long have you been a Houston Astros fan? You're all decked out.
I've been an Astros fan since they started.
Well, you came in yesterday, you got to go to the game, and you got to go to the Bayou Bash. And I know anyone from Baton Rouge knows crawfish.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think of the crawfish here?
It was great. They did a good job.
When do you guys head back?
Head back after the game.
Awesome. And how often do you get to come down? You said you're a big fan. You're not that far, but...
Whenever I get a chance.
And you get to see him at Yankee Stadium. Terry will be there when the Astros go. She's really excited about it. Thanks for being our progressive fan, Terry.
Thank you.
Brownie.
Great. Thanks, Julia. 8-1 Astros. Brad Peacock shooting for his first win since September 11th last year. Goes to work on Gordon Beckham. Beckham looks at it, and it's strike one. Marwin Gonzalez stays in to play shortstop after pinch hitting for Jonathan Villar. Bingo. 1 out. White Sox have only 3 singles and 2 walks against Peacock. Peacock a chance to settle in with the early run support. The 4-run second really helping, and then 2 more in the third, 2 more in the fifth. John Danks in 4 2/3 innings allowed 10 hits and 8 runs. 7 were earned. He walked 3, hit a batter, and struck out 7. Peacock drops it in for strike 1 on Gillespie. He's 0 for 2. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Peacock started the day 0-4 with a 5.63 ERA. This is start number 6 for Brad. Last year he finished very strongly. That's a hit through the left side. They were shifted around, playing Gillespie to pull. He went the other way with it for hit number 4 for the Sox.
Well, that looks mighty easy.
Darryl Boston's the first base coach. Viciedo is 0 for 2. At the end of the year, Peacock went 4-3 with a 3.67 ERA. In his final 12 games, 9 of those were starts. That's ball 1 to Viciedo.
Keep working, LP. Come on. Keep working.
Brad began the year in the bullpen. And Lucas Harrell was designated for assignment. Peacock got a spot back. Bouncer left side. Marwin to second. Altuve to first. Good pivot. For a 6-4, 3 double play. Second by the Astros. Altuve leads all American League second basemen in double plays. The Astros lead this game 8-1.
1,000 fans will receive an orange Jose Altuve jersey courtesy of Houston Methodist. First pitch against the Orioles is at 3:10, but get here early to get your Altuve jersey. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com.
He may very well be an all-star for the second time this year.
It's played that way.
Boy, he has. He's coming up now in the home sixth inning. The Astros up 8-1. Altuve has 1 of the 10 hits for Houston. He's 1 for 3. Goes foul and it's strike 1. We earlier talked about Bo Porter's remark about Altuve, that Bo is so proud of what Altuve's done. He's made such an improvement in his hitting and just mentally has a very good approach and an idea of what the pitcher is going to try to do when he walks into that batter's box. And this one goes in the air to Adam Eaton in center. And that's out number 1. Then beyond that, I said, well, is laying off the high fastball one of the biggest improvements he's made? And he said, yes, it is. Webb gets his second out of the game. He came in with 2 men on and got Gonzalez to end the 5th inning. And now it's George Springer. Springer 1 for 3. Yankees beat the Pirates at Yankee Stadium 4-3 today. Ball 1, George Springer. Hiroki Kuroda squared his record at 3-3 and had bullpen help from Daly, Thornton, Warren, and Robertson. Robertson got his 8th save. VR left the game with a right hand contusion. That's the reason Marwin Gonzalez was pinch hitting for him in the 5th inning. Two balls, no strikes. Goes into the screen. 2-1 for George Springer. Charlie Morton lost the game for the Pirates. The Pirates got homers from Neil Walker, his 9th. Tony Sanchez, his 2nd. And the Pirates have slipped to 17-25. They are 5-14 on the road.
I thought they had figured out how to win last year. That's what everybody sees when a team gets it allegedly turned around. Every year's a new year, ultimately, I think.
That's the truth. Here they were 9 games behind Milwaukee when they took the field today. A lot of people thought that they would build on what they did last year. That was a breakthrough season for them. Springer looks at it. It's a full count now to George. George worked the count full last time up. Springer has driven in runs in 4 consecutive games. That's ball 4.
Time now for the AT&T Rewind. George Springer, you may recall, was aboard when this little pickoff dandy was dropped on him. Paul Konerko, the first baseman, playing behind. And so now they're going to talk about it in the dugout. And he's got coach involved. And T. Brock, the first base coach, is talking about how this all works. You know, here's my bottom line. The first base coach has the assignment to let the base runner know the first step made by that first baseman. So I don't know exactly what was communicated down there. But at least they're trying to get it worked out.
Dexter Fowler hits a foul ball. Strike 1. He has doubled and walked and scored 2 runs. So he's scored 25 runs now this season. Fowler's the club leader in runs scored. And we have not seen that play. This one skips by the catcher, Nieto, and allows Springer to advance on a wild pitch to second base. We really haven't seen that play, as we said at the time, in a while.
When you say a while, for me it's maybe even decades.
It's a long time.
Yeah, where it used to be kind of one of the standards that teams had, and they would try to break it out just here and there and catch a guy sleeping. And it's easy to catch a guy sleeping. You get that well timed between first baseman and pitcher, and it'll grab a lot of guys.
Bad. And the base runner's looking ahead at him at the runner off second, and trying to key off what he does and be ready to advance on anything.
Kind of intriguing, though, with Paul Konerko at first base, because a guy that played quite a while back and saw this play, and I'm sure Robin Ventura is the guy that instituted the play.
Yeah. Fly ball, Eaton in center. Springer's tagging. Here's the catch. And Springer will just force a throw and hold on. 2 outs. Now Matt Dominguez with a pair of 2-run homers today. Matt's 2 for 3. White Sox, when this game started, had the highest starting rotation ERA in the American League, 5.16. And Danks did not lower it by allowing 7 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings. That's ball 1.
Well, the White Sox clearly need Chris Sale. That's easy to say. Beyond that, I'm not sure that the light is showing at the other end of the tunnel right now.
It might be from an onrushing train if it is.
Yeah, that's often the case.
1-1. Nationals lead the Mets 5-3. They're in the bottom of the 8th in Washington. Jordan Zimmerman started. 1-2. Apparently Gio Gonzalez is hurt. He was going for an MRI at last report after having a couple of pretty bad starts. Zach Wheeler started for the Mets. He gave up 3 earned runs in 6 innings. Ian Desmond hit another homer, his 7th of the year for the Nats. Strike 3 called. Dominguez caught looking to end the 6th. With no runs, no hits, and a man left. After 6, it's 8-1 Houston.
Lead at 8-1 over the White Sox, and another look at our pitch-by-pitch brought to you by Steel Dealers. Brad Peacock has had a solid afternoon, just 4 strikeouts, but he got his first with Gordon Beckham in the first inning. That was an appeal play. Adam Dunn has added a couple in there, 2nd and 4th innings. Adam Dunn caught looking in each case, and Paul Konerko also caught looking. So Brad Peacock just sailing along through 6 innings and picking up a few strikeouts along the way.
Adam Dunn's waiting for him. Adam has not been a problem today. There's ball 1 with those excellent numbers. Peacock, he has struck out Dunn looking twice. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Peacock 7-10 lifetime with a 4.92 ERA. Dallas Keuchel will begin the road trip tomorrow night in Anaheim. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. $21,532 the paid attendance on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Foul ball takes the count to 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Astros have won 4 of their last 6, and their ERA in those last 6 games is 3.17. Bullpen action with Scott Downs for the White Sox. The Astros have averaged 4.3 runs per game. Struck him out looking. 5 strikeouts for Peacock. Adam Dunn, that's the 3rd time he's been called out on strikes.
Yeah, Dunn doesn't like that low strike called on him. In each case today when he's been called out, it's been pitches down around the knees. This one from that side appeared to be below the knees. Doesn't look like a full-blown conversation.
Well, Konerko is 0 for 2, a fly ball to right and a strikeout looking. That's in for strike 1. Slider caught the edge for Peacock. The shift is on. Now the curve makes it 0-2. Phillies lead the Reds 8-2. They're in the top of the 8th at Philadelphia. Cliff Lee pitched well, 6 2/3 innings, 2 runs. Jimmy Rollins hit his 5th homer. Marlon Byrd number 5, Will Nieves number 1, Cody Ashe number 4.
Manny Trio would have loved him.
What do you think he would have called him?
Ashe. Ashe.
He called everybody Ashe, didn't he? He called you Ashe,
yeah,
right?
That was. See, I helped him get to that point in his career.
Okay. Well, you've been around people who call everybody by the same name, right?
Big guy.
Yeah. Little tap to third base. Dominguez. 2 outs.
I think Paul Konerko has had some speedier days in his career. Big fella.
Well, there was a great tennis player, Tony Rhodes. And I went to John Newcomb's tennis camp one time. And they actually drafted us, the campers. And these legends were coaching our teams.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
So, yeah, he called everybody Blue.
What was the logic?
I don't know. He just had picked out that name to call everybody he ever ran across. Hey, Blue. Well, I thought he had my color wrong. No, I'm brown, but he called everybody Blue.
I thought you were an umpire during the summer season, huh?
It's 2 balls, no strikes.
I guess when you go by brown your entire life, that just another color is fine.
What the heck? 3 balls, no strikes. You've got to roll with it, right?
Sure you did.
Sometimes it's better if they don't know your name.
Well, it depends on what the nickname winds up being. If you're Load, come on, Load, then I don't know.
How about Meat?
Meat, yeah. That used to be a popular one.
That's not very complimentary. 3 balls and strike. Julia is staying out of the sun and getting ready for that post-game bath. There's a 2-out walk.
Better her than us, Brownie.
We're going to play some moratorium on travel days at the very least.
I did not bring. I don't have an extra pair of clothing with me right now. It's all packed.
Yeah, the guys have to recognize that you have to get on an airplane.
Yes. I don't want to be sticky on the airplane.
We're going to have a security guard cordon down there by you.
Just take the umbrella. I think that speaks for itself.
I look like a diva down here. Stop showing me.
All right, we'll stay away.
Okay.
We're all about reality.
And we'll just from now on, Julia, you would never be shown, and it will be voice of Julia Morales. We'll show that little picture we show on the bottom of the screen of you. Okay.
No, I'm staying out of the sun.
Julia has just been doused.
It's 2 balls, no strikes. Those pictures of us, by the way, were all taken 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's true, and I'm going to keep it that way as far as I can help it.
They will not be updated ever.
We'll have kids just drawing pictures of Julia looking really wet with stuff coming down.
Oh, no.
Yeah. 3-0. Well, of course, final game of the World Series, everybody gets doused, right?
Yeah. So just think of it as Clubhouse World Series dousing.
The protocol.
What's going on with Brad Peacock? He walked 2 back-to-back in the 3rd inning after looking really sharp, and suddenly here with 2 outs in the 7th.
Not sure. Is he perhaps rushing?
Can't imagine, because rushing is his newfound partner, I think.
Yeah. 3 balls and a strike.
When you're pitching really well and quickly, you have a nice quick pace. When you're pitching poorly and pitching quickly, you're rushing.
Okay. Piazza takes a walk, so yeah, it's weird. Maybe brain cramp type of thing.
It's kind of the, am I in a groove or in a rut?
Let's see what was going on before the game with Julia.
Now I really look like a diva.
Oh, we had the reflector going when you were on camera down there to keep the sun off your head.
Where's my cold drink? I really look like a diva today, but the shadows were bad.
Do you want us to get you a recliner down there for that post-game show?
No.
Some desert fruits, figs and dates, palm,
maybe some
branches.
Yeah, we could have some servants with fans.
Oh, stop it.
I imagine we could pull that off very easily.
It's warm down here, guys.
It is warm.
You prefer the yellow grapes or the red ones? Or dark?
Nice umbrella drink, something like that.
Yes.
For Julia on
now
her
we're
final
talking.
game. Final game of the homestand. Brent Strom out to talk with Brad Peacock. 99 pitches. Look at this.
Do you get that kind of treatment at home?
That is just amazing.
Where's someone with a fan? I mean, how ridiculous do I look right there?
They didn't do that for you in Round Rock, did they?
No.
Okay.
Only in the bigs.
Josh Fields is warming up.
She's in the show, ladies and gentlemen. And so are they, by the way.
Yes.
They're getting fanned by themselves.
Yeah, there's some fan.
They're a big fan.
Now it's Nieto. Nieto is 2 for 2 with an RBI in this game. As a half of the White Sox hit total of 4. They've all been singles off Peacock. And it's ball.
Oh. Throw a few balls and suddenly throw a good one and can't get the call.
James Shields and Kansas City leading Baltimore 5-3. They're in the top of the 7th. Big cut there by Nieto. Takes the count to 1-1. Rivaldo Jimenez gave up 5 earnings in 5 innings today for the Orioles. Alex Gordon hit his second home run, and that was a 3-run shot off Rivaldo.
What's happened to the power of Alex Gordon? I thought he was a rather powerful guy there for a while.
I'm sure, Ash. Foul back, 1-2.
Certainly a doubles hitter.
Yeah. He made a great catch in last night's game.
Yes, he did.
Did you see Derek Jeter? He tagged a base runner, and the umpire called him safe. And he just calmly turned toward the Yankee dugout, did the do-over sign with his hand, and said, challenge it. and they did, and he won.
The captain speaks.
Yeah, he just didn't get that out of shape at all, though. 2-2. That was close. Peacock looking in.
Boy, that's really spotting it well.
What part of the middle of the plate did that not catch?
I don't know. It's certainly above the knees. You start to do that awkward step toward the dugout, and then it gets all the more awkward.
Line shot into center field. That's going to cost, as this will score 1 to make it 8-2. And into second base with a hustling double Nieto. He's 3 for 3 in this game.
Go back to the 5th inning. Nieto had a good-looking pitch, called a ball on him, and then he lined the next one into right field. So he's taking advantage this afternoon.
Yes, he is. De Aza stopped at third with Ramirez scoring to make it a 6-run Houston lead of 8-2. Now back to the top of the order, and Eaton. Eaton is 1 for 3, and Bo Porter's going to be coming out. He's had his bullpen going. 104 pitches for Peacock, 61 of them strikes. Been a very good outing for him. 6 2/3. That ties his longest outing of the year. And the fans are loving it. Brad Peacock walking off, shooting for win number 1 of the season. Josh Fields is coming in. We'll be right back after this. Change here in the top of the 7th, 2 outs and 2 on. The Astros traveling roadshow heads to Hollywood tomorrow night for a date with Pujols, Trout, and the LA Angels of Anaheim or Hollywood. Pre-game live kicks us off at 8:30 only on Comcast Sportsnet from San Pedro, California.
Say what?
Home of Alan Ashby.
Gary Maddox.
He's from San Pedro?
Yes, sir.
Ball 1 to Adam Eaton.
A little
Josh Fields comes up.
Little pony league ball, high school ball as well with Gary.
He had those long Dexter Fowler strides.
Yes, he did. He was quite a player.
Josh Fields worked last night. 1 inning. He gave up 1 hit, no runs. Struck out 2 without walking anybody. Now he's fallen behind Eaton. It's 2 balls, no strikes.
Josh Fields just had that look of a guy wondering where the strike zone is.
0-3 and 11.08 ERA. 2 saves and 3 opportunities for Fields.
Why are left-handers hitting .393 against Josh Fields? I can't justify that. Got a guy with a mid-90s fastball and over-the-top yacker, occasional changeup, and left-handers are hitting almost 400.
Well, ask around for some theories on that. Just recalled from Oklahoma City on Wednesday when Anthony Bass went on the DL.
Well, the answer is going to be fat pitches, and that's always a part of things. And sometimes guys survive while throwing fat pitches, and sometimes hitters hit fat pitches, and other times they hit a lot of really tough ones. Yeah. Stretches of time where I think that numbers are really hard to be meaningful with.
Fields delivers their strike 3, and that is the end to the top of the 7th inning. With 1 run scoring on 1 hit, 2 men left, and it's now the Astros 8 and the White Sox 2, and we keep it right here for the singing of God Bless America.
Minute Maid Park. Now we kindly ask that you please rise and join us as we take pause to honor our great nation and honor those that protect our freedom around the world each and every day. Please join Annie Edgerton with this afternoon's God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Sox right here as we go to the bottom of the 7th. And as promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game today. It's Grady at Grady Cow with his Astros cup. Thank you, Grady, for tweeting at us. Tweet your photo to hashtag CSNH fan photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T.
Thanks, Julia. Our own special diva there. Leori Garcia is taking over shortstop for Alexi Ramirez. Ramirez was 0 for 1 with 2 walks, scored 2 runs. So Garcia there, and there's a new pitcher, lefty Scott Downs, taking over. After Webb went an inning and a third, he gave up no hits, no runs, had a walk and a strikeout. And Marcus Semion's at second base now. Chris Carter, the batter. Carter takes a look at it, and it's ball 1. He rocked a homer in the second to make it 1-0 Houston. Downs 0-2 with a 4.50 ERA. He walked 12 and struck out 15 in 16 innings. Worked a third of an inning last night, giving up 1 hit, no runs. It's 2 balls, no strikes.
Downs has been a setup man, a closer in his career. Right now it looks like he's becoming a one-inning guy that occasionally will be that lefty versus lefty kind of pitcher.
That's in for a strike. That makes it 2-1. Marcus Semien there at second base for Gordon Beckham. Both middle infielders who started are now out of the game for Robin Ventura. Carter takes it, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Seattle is up on Minnesota 4-2 in the top of the 7th inning at Minnesota. King Felix Hernandez still in the game. Ricky Nolasco has left after giving up 3 runs in 5 innings. Grounder goes foul, still 2-2. Robinson Cano is having a good game today. 3 for 4 for Seattle. He's hitting .314. That'll be the second stop on the road trip for the Astros. 4 games in Seattle. Foul back. And the Mariners right now are 20-22. They've lost 4 in a row.
Robinson Cano turning out to be the same guy the Mariners thought they were getting. Hitting over 300 and probably not the same power numbers.
Right. And I don't think there will be the same power numbers going from Yankee Stadium to Safeco Field. Still 2-2.
Played in the American League East versus now in the American League West. And I think there's a big difference there too.
Good point. Boston very reachable to right field for a left-handed home run hitter.
There was Toronto, and even Tampa Bay is not a big ballpark.
Yeah. Good point.
Baltimore.
Fly ball out to left center field. De Aza reaching down, and he was able to hang on. 1 out. Looked like it might be a hit off the bat of Carter.
When's the last time there's been a home run champion from the American League West, I wonder, as we watch this nice play?
Well, let's see. Did Griffey win home run titles?
I'm sure he must have. But that was back in the old Seattle ballpark that was very favorable to the hitters.
That's right. Jesus Guzman is 1 for 1 with 2 walks. Jay Buhner hit a lot of home runs.
Edgar and company. There was Brett.
Last home run champ, Texas Rangers. Outside.
Yeah, that actually might make sense. I guess I'm really thinking about those clubs up and down the West Coast.
Right.
That would be tough. You would earn it if you picked it up there.
Oh yes. Spacious ballparks, sea level. No doubt.
Nobody can win over the marine layer.
A-Rod did it for Texas. I don't know if he led the league, but he was up in the high 40s. He led the league. Okay. That's our answer, but not your West Coast question. Answer. Now Guzman has worked the count to 2-2. Troy Gloss in 2000 for Anaheim.
There you go.
47 match.
There you go. Now that's boy, that's a big boy swinging it right there.
Yeah. 2 hopper to third. Gillespie over to get Guzman. 2 outs. That does go back a few years. The end of the 7th. The Cardinals are up on the Braves 5-4. St. Louis. He's back. Jaime Garcia back in the rotation for St. Louis today.
Well, I keep looking to see the Cardinals start to make up some ground, and he'll help.
He will. Veteran left-hander who changes speeds well. L.J. Hose is 1 for 3, a double. Gavin Floyd started for the Braves. Justin Upland hit his 10th homer for them. Freddie Freeman, number 8. Hose looks at ball 1. 8-10-0 for Houston. 2-5-2 for Chicago. It's a 2-ball, no strike count. Cubs are up on Milwaukee. It's 4-2 in the bottom of the 7th at Wrigley Field. Trying to slow down that Milwaukee Express. 27-16, a .628 winning percentage, a 4-game lead over St. Louis coming into today. 2-1. The Athletics have claimed lefty pitcher Jeff Francis off waivers from the Reds today.
He'll turn into a star.
Well,
everybody who goes and pitches for that Oakland team. I mean, I don't care who they are or what stage of their career they're in. They'll win some games.
Did you notice that Scott Kazmir came into that game after
Yes.
Something like an inning and a third last night.
He got ejected for arguing balls and strikes.
Okay, that'll do it. Broken bat. Picked up by Canerco. It's a 1-2-3 seventh for Scott Downs. We move to the 8th inning with the score 8-2 Astros.
Season at Minute Maid Park. Every Friday night home game is followed by spectacular fireworks presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. The next Friday night fireworks is Friday, May 30th against the Orioles. Get your tickets today by calling 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com.
Thanks, Julia. Ash told us about Scott Kazmir being thrown out of that game last night. And Oakland came up very big in that game, winning 6-2. But he wasn't around by the end of the second inning as Jerry Lane tossed him.
Yeah, the little bit I saw, didn't see a whole lot from Kazmir. And I guess that's what the fans were saying once he was gone.
Josh Fields in the game.
Came out to watch a talented left-handed pitcher, and instead we watched Jerry Lane go 9.
That's a shame. Gordon Beckham no longer in the game. Marcus Semien is. He comes up for the first time, and there's strike one to Semien. Semien has had 145 at bats, hitting .214, 3 homers, 17 runs batted in. Beckham was 0 for 3. Josh Fields upstairs with that one. It's 1-1. Semien is 4th among American League rookies in hits with 31. Connor Gillespie's on deck. Fields is upstairs with that one as well, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Brad Peacock went 6 2/3 innings. He allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, walked 4, and fanned 5. 2 double plays behind him. He started one of them. That was a big one in the third after the first 4 had reached. It's 2-2. Marcus Semien's 23 years old. He's from San Francisco. Went to Cal Berkeley. Jeff Blum School. 6th round pick in 2011 of the Sox. He had 69 at bats last season. But was still classified as a rookie. And he's caught looking. That's out number 1.
Create memories, save money, and have fun with Astros baseball. Treat your employees, host clients, or bring out your church or youth sports team. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com to enjoy special pricing and great benefits by reserving your group or suite today.
Connor Gillespie singled in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3. Rangers lead the Blue Jays. It's 2-1 in the top of the 6th inning at Texas. Nick Martinez started for the Rangers. R.A. Dickey still in there for Toronto. 2 hopper out to Altuve. On to Guzman. 2 outs. Altuve continues his string of errorless games. It's 78 games now. And getting close to 380 total chances since he last made an error. Viciedo is 0 for 3. Juan Francisco hit his 8th home run of the year for the Blue Jays at Texas. Strike. That AL East very tightly bunched. Many people thought that might be the case much of the year. Matt Lindstrom is the closer. He's a former Astro, warming up now for the Sox. It's 1-1. Baltimore and the Yankees started the day in first in the AL East, tied for first with 22-19 records. Toronto a half game behind them. 2-1. And Boston was 2.5 back, and Tampa Bay in last, trailing by 4.5 games.
I don't know who I like in that division. You know, I liked the Yankees at the start of the year, but I was counting on their pitching staying healthy.
True. And it hasn't. 3 balls, 1 strike.
Yeah, I can see the Orioles winning it. I think they've got a really nice lineup. They're going to struggle with pitching, but so will a lot of teams.
You're right, and the rotation is not a scary type of rotation, but pretty well balanced. No real slackers in the group. Viciedo tried to air it out on 3-1, but he whiffed.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Toronto Blue Jays stepped up and did what they haven't been able to do for a long time.
The Angels lead the Rays 2-0 at the end of 3 in Anaheim at the Big A. Again, high heat, and again, Viciedo swings and misses. He flings the bat away after striking out. It's 8-2 Houston.
Team game, but if there is one individual on the Astros that is most vital to team success, well, that was our Twitter question. So here's some of the best tweets that I received at Ho Chan CSN. Cliff Lauren tweets, Chad Qualls needs to be MVP, which in this case would be most vital player. If we had a closer already, we would have about 5 more wins. BP Holcomb 18 tweets, Matt Dominguez really starting to produce at third base and provide some depth in the middle of the line. And by the way, he tweeted that before the 2 home runs today, so major props to BP Holcomb 18. Thank you very much for tweeting me at Ho Chan CSN. Guys, over to you.
Thank you, Howard Chen, the social media guru of CSN Houston. Matt Lindstrom is warming up for the White Sox, and he'll be pitcher number 4 in this game on a sunny, warm day with a breeze blowing out to left field. In 17 games, the former Astro is 2-1 with the White Sox. He has a 3.50 ERA. He's 6 for 9 in saves.
This guy's got a good arm. He'll get it up in the mid and beyond that 90s.
He was the Astros closer in 2010. He was 23 for 29 in saves that year, pitching 58 times. Carlos Corcoran faces him. He is 0 for 2, and he was hit by a pitch. That's strike one. Scott Downs had a 1-2-3 seventh. He was pitcher number 3. John Danks started for the White Sox. He gave up 7 earned runs, 8 total on 10 hits and 4 2/3. Daniel Webb worked an inning and a third of no hit, scoreless baseball with a walk and a strikeout. Lindstrom gets a swing from Corp, and it's 0-2. Matt's 34 years old. He was born in Rexburg, Idaho. Drafted by the Mets in 2002. Traded to the Astros after the 2009 season. And Colorado picked him up. That's hook foul, and that scatters the guys from that top railing on the Astros dugout.
Friendly reminder from the dugout. Hit it the other way.
Giants lead the Marlins 3-0. They're in the bottom of the second in San Francisco with Brian Vogelsong on the mound against Justin Turner. Giants are riding high, 27-17 atop the NL West. 3 in front of the Dodgers.
Bruce Bochy at it again.
Yeah, and Bruce is really a even-handed manager, isn't he?
Yeah, I see him a lot like I do Robin Ventura.
He scattered him on that foul ball. That's our special dugout cam there to show you the reaction to foul balls.
The reaction cam.
Yeah. That's in the dirt. It's a strikeout, but Corcoran can reach on this, and he is going to be safe at first on a strikeout and wild pitch.
Nice hustle down the line from Corp. Let's see what kind of work. Nieto tried to get down and do the blocking thing. You let that glove come up, it'll betray you. I assure you, and that's one lesson for all catchers to not only learn but to remember.
It did. Marwin Gonzalez is up for the second time. He grounded out in the 5th inning, pinch hitting for Jonathan Villar, who left with the bruised right hand. 5-6 in the third. Gillespie, good throw to second, and then Semien not in time, but Gillespie with the footwork got in front of it. Still got enough on that throw to second base. Let's go now to Julia Morales.
Hey, Brownie, we've really seen this offense pick it up here in this last week. 10 hits today. Bo Porter talking about his offense earlier before the game, saying it's just really coming together, and he's really proud of his guys. He thinks the offensive woes are behind this club, and it starts with Jose Altuve. Bo Porter really proud of what Jose Altuve has been able to do and how he's matured as a hitter, something you were talking about earlier, Brownie.
Yeah, and you've seen it, Julia. He just seems to be so much more in command of the strike zone than he was a year ago. And Julia, his on-base average is .350. That is substantially higher than last year, and he's able to do more base stealing, of course, when he gets on base more often. He's taken advantage of that. He stole his 15th base. He's atop the American League in base stealing this year. So, boy, it's been a big improvement. Not that he was terrible last year. He hit .283, had a .316 on base average. Rolled up the middle here, and there's a quick toss to Semien, and he turns it. Well, Garcia and Semien really collaborating on a fine double play. The second of the game for the Sox. We go to the 9th inning with a score 8-2 Astros. mobilizing your world. It's 8-2. The Astros lead the White Sox. They've out-hit Chicago 10-5. The Pale Hose have both errors in the game. Jerome Williams comes in for the 9th inning. In 11 games, he's 1-2 with a 6.26 ERA. He was warming up way back in the 3rd inning of this game, actually.
Yeah, that was at the point where I was wondering if Bo Porter knew something about Brad Peacock, and maybe the conversation that had been had before the game. I'm not feeling that good today kind of thing. But I'm not so sure that was the case. Could have been a motivation issue, trying to make sure that Peacock got pushed to his extent.
Well, Josh Fields retired 4 in a row. Struck out 3 of them in his inning in the 3rd. Nice view from there.
Is it?
A peek from the scoreboard. Yeah.
Okay. I hope he didn't think he had box seats today. Because that's a little different twist on it.
Adam Dunn with strikeout. He has struck out looking all 3 times today. He was really agitated after the 3rd one in the 7th inning. That would be something if the Astros present him the golden sombrero in his hometown.
He's had his success to go with it, but yeah, it's a nice parting gift.
He's hit 27 home runs against Houston pitching. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Padres 1, Rockies nothing, top of the 3rd. Dunn looks at ball 2, and it's 2 ball, 2 strike count. Well, the Astros just 1 inning away from a 4-2 homestand, which would be their first winning homestand or winning road trip of the year. Toward the left field corner, AT HOU watches it go. That's a foul ball. They're fighting him. Okay.
Well, it's a nice play. I'm not sure if that was made at the expense of a possible out. I couldn't tell down there.
It's open.
Steve Bartman shows up at most unusual places.
That poor guy. He's not going to show up anywhere anymore. Now 3-2, Adam Dunn.
Adam Dunn's been rung up on some tough pitches on the afternoon, pitches that may or may not have been in the strike zone, but he gets away with one close here.
That's what the fans thought. Strike 3 call. That's the 4th time in the game Dunn has been caught looking.
Great guests, hot topics, and no holds barred debate. Kevin Eschenfelder serves it up every single night on Sports Talk Live at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. Monday's guests are Damon Jones and Mike Meltzer.
That's strikeout number 9 for Astros pitching. Now Konerko. Strike 1 to him. He's 0 for 3.
Yeah, when the sombrero is golden, it's hard to hide.
Nobody wants that headgear. Chop slowly to 3rd, charged by Dominguez. Throws out Konerko, 2 down. And the Astros 1 out away from heading out to the West Coast, having won 5 of their last 7. Their record would be 7-9 for the month of May with a victory today. Jerome Williams working to Garcia next. Leori Garcia, former Texas Ranger, switch hitting infielder. He's hit .220 so far with no homers, 1 RBI, and 41 at bats this season. He's hitting .430 as a left-handed batter. Very valuable defensive player. Cartwheels out of the way of that one. Ball one.
Don't look now, but the Astros are trying to make it 4 wins in their last 5 games.
Well, 2 of 3 from Texas, 2 of 3 from the White Sox. That would be the outcome of this homestand if they get this one. Off the glove of Williams, and Leori Garcia is aboard. What a spin move by Jerome. It's an infield hit for Garcia. He looked like he was on one of those slip and slides.
Certainly showing court awareness at this point. He wasn't going to let Altuve take that ball.
No.
This is my play. Got pink leather to it, just couldn't hang on.
His range factor as a pitcher must be immense with that.
He just expanded on that point. All plays on the grass are his.
That's hit number 6 for the Sox. And De Aza with a pair of walks and a ground out bats. Nieto on deck. Strike for Jerome Williams. It's Dallas Keuchel tomorrow night in Anaheim against Garrett Richards. 8:30 for Astros pregame live. Keuchel shooting for win number 5, as is Richards tomorrow night. First of a 10-game road trip. It's 0-2. Peacock could be in the winner's circle for the first time this season. Big day for Matt Dominguez, a pair of 2-run homers. Chris Carter also has homered. Jonathan Villar had 2 hits, 2 runs batted in before leaving with a bruised hand. And a swing and a miss ends it. And the Astros get a combined 6-hitter to finish off a 4-2 homestand. 8 runs on 10 hits for Houston. The winner Peacock 1-4. Loser Danks 3-4. Big game for Domingo, who now has 7 home runs to take back home to the West Coast. Final score: Houston 8, the Pale Hose 6. Pale Hose.